the beginning of time through a religious or a more like dogmatic point of view. Although the scientists see it as more rational way of thinking, like they believe in quarks and all the neutrons and atoms and other things that form the quarks and how it is joined together and everything were created through through religion. It has another point of view, although sometimes I wanted to believe that the universe was created just like that, with quarks and all the quantum physics, because for me it's much less complicated, much less complex, rather than believe that there is a God out there. There is, but this being is a part of us. I believe so, because we are part of this. It's quark. You see, it's molecule. If there is a God out there, then he's self-made, and we are part of it. You understand? Because everything is one. So down to let's go to the point about this Wednesday paper. How he explains it on a more dogmatic and religious point of view. From nothing see to something and see. In the beginning there was infinity. Okay, everything, this world and sea knew that it existed. So it kind of just those quarks, those atoms, this neutron just kind of explode, kaboom. And if it everything was created, and if it comes some beings, okay, some beings. So this being saw itself as a gods, and because they were the prime source to be created, they see themselves as gods. And from them, in via their subdivision, via their composition, and thus how we became the creatures instead of the co-creators as well. There were no thoughts, no emotions, no light, no darkness, no sound, no material universe. I don't know, I wasn't there, so how do I know if there is no such thing? To me, everything already existed from the beginning. This is just a theory that there was no emotion, no light, no darkness, no sound. I do not believe that. I believe that everything already existed a long, long time ago. And this God is a fun touch. We don't exactly know what is it. What people do believe here and worship are aliens. That's my point of view. More systematic and more rational. That's the only way I can conceive it, concept in my mind, is that people do worship aliens, and all of us are part of the source, which is the multiverse. Okay, the multiple verse of creation created from the cork. So we need the scientists are right. I still stick to this rational point of view. Then the science became aware. It developed a super consciousness that is all there is. All there is always existed, dude. It never ceased from existing. Has always been there from time memorial, from the beginning of nothing. See, because there has always been something there. It didn't create from the nothing. They always been self-created, just like that. It's a cork. It's a quantum physics. From the super consciousness came self-awareness and thought. Out of self-awareness and thought came infinite potential. Infinite potential is genderless and genders at the same time because it's all there is. Of course, quarks can create anything. What's so mysterious about it? What's so complex about it? At one time in eternity ago in human terms, infinite potential, which we will call source. Source is just like created prime beings from which we are all derived, we come from, we are originated from, who knew everything there was to know, was wondering how it would be if there were things it didn't know, because all it knew was just about theories, and he wanted to put into practice, and that's what the zodiac of Virgo is all about: practicality, place theories into practices. Of course, Source could experience anything and everything it wanted it to. He could, but only if he had to split itself, and by split itself, it just kind of multiplicated, just like we do here. We multiplicated by co-creating with one another, but only from its own single point of view and in regard to its own infinity. If it wanted to experience another infinity, it had to create another unique self-aware unit of awareness. Just like self means that he had just to multiplicate, just like we do here. It's nature. It's about nature, about creation. What's so difficult? Why people must make so difficult, so complicated? Oh, there is a God. He created all that, and then we imagine those giants that look down open eyes here, and I found it so ridiculous, because everything is the cork is what? Everything is quantum physics, who could create its own infinity. Therefore, the way to expand itself and create infinite universes from other viewpoints was to extend itself to a lot of unique units of awareness. Just multiplicate was so difficult. People here do multiplicate, mix up ovum with sperm, was so difficult. Which it did. It went from one sea to separate next sea. I do not believe so. I believe that the cork just creates everything, male and female, the yin and the yang, and then everything just procreates. This is how I believe from the beginning of time. No mystery. That's simple as that. Why must people make so difficult, so complex, so as to create religion and worship and sovereignty and being so be missed to something else external to us? It doesn't make any sense to me. That's bull crap. So Source created a game to play with itself. They created the unknown multiverse from its own infinite point of view, and then populated it with almost infinite numbers of awareness units, separate parts of itself, figuratively speaking. If we imagine a Source being an infinite ball of clay, it took a part of itself and created a model or a landscape. It's just quack, man. Just create like this. Why must think? why must imagine and create one picture which does not exist, one image which does not exist, about a old man with a beard, a dragons, whatever. My God, what's so difficult to imagine that it was just all about quarks? Huh? Multiply units and then join up together, proton, neutron, so on and so forth. It's so simple this way. Science is so simple. You know what we have about the supernatural? Who are they? They are dragons, they are aliens. So difficult to understand. Which became what life physics group California calls the unknown. Then it is, yeah, they know the unknown, but they know through a different point of view. They got a different theory about it. They're simple science, okay? Then it extended itself in consciousness into an infinite amount of nerve endings, which were miniature parts of itself. It gave this extended awareness units unique personalities and traits. So each one of them could create their own universes within four sources unknown and bring back every thought, every move, and every experience back to source. So what happened is that there were some prime creatures created, originate from these quarks, from these protons and neutrons, and then they saw themselves as self-made gods. You know what they did was create part of the self, which there is a study. Um, there are video about it, but from David Bassi. However, I put into Portuguese, not in English, and whereby it talks about how they this being was so giant that it literally split itself and create multi verse of itself. You know, create this and that, and the evil and the good part of itself. Okay, so that's how it was all started. But there's no mystery. It is so simple. What, I don't know. I'm a kind of person who thinks so simple. To me, it's just what quarks, quantum physics. It's all about that, about the energy, quantic energy. The unknown became the playground or clay ground. Clay ground, a cultural analogy, which 7 levels of manifestation, being infinite potential and all there is to begin with. Prime creator, by using energy to create different densities and dimensions. Prime creator. See, they just kind of made themselves, and I mean they were created from this quantum, the quantum quarks, and they see themselves as gods. See, could now from completing the lowest levels of manifestations put players on this stage. The way it did this was to let parts of it itself go into the unknown. Okay, it literally multiplicated itself, divide itself, just like I would say parasites or bacteria or subcells of amoeba, something like that, just to make a imaginary or a leech are able to multiply itself. So it's just like beans, and I start seeding, creating intelligent life forms of lower densities than that of the purest form of source. So he was kind of like descending in quality, instead of producing better quality of itself, of this version, it kind of creates lesser version of itself. Understand? So the purpose and idea was to have separated parts of itself, explore the unknown and bring back the unpredictable experiences to itself. I talk about it in my other videos about, go forth, multiply. Even the Bible says that, go forth, multiply and bring everything back to me. All the experiences kind of okay, he this being, things like that. I do not want theory. I know what I am. However, I want to place all that into theory, into practices. Because theory without practices are just what? Just imagination. Just let's say a visual thought. Okay? It's just an emotion, annoying. However, he wanted to place it into activities, into experiences, into density. And so what it did was to multiplicate itself and the creative version of itself and bring back the unpredictable experience so source could learn more about itself. Okay, this game has been going on ever since, and it will probably go on for all eternity. But all I want to know is that after, when we are just fed up of all these games and adventures, we'll be able to self-destroy ourselves. I mean, this tiniest form, this tiniest cork which we are, which we will be able to just destroy it. I know that it can destroy the personality, the body, the mind itself. I know. However, we'll be able to destroy completely and just become unaware of ourselves, unaware that we exist. This is what I wanted to know. I want to know, and I believe there are possibilities that yes, we can self-destroy ourselves and merge with the all, and especially so our personality here. Like say, okay, I'm Mary or I'm John. John and Mary will no more exist after they leave this body or disincarnate. Okay, they kinda gonna just ceases to exist. They will not exist anymore, at least their personality. The avatar will be gone after they leave this body. However, I wanted to know whether we're gonna be able to just destroy completely, kind of no more exist, no more have a awareness of itself. Men have asked themselves throughout time whether for space-time is infinite, with an infinite number of galaxies or not. The universe is both. It is infinite potential, and we who live in it are the ones creating it. And the serial in parallel universes as well, by creating probable realities. Okay, so if we are creating with the source. However, if we are create, why there is some third parties medley in our experiences, and here claim to be the same gods or whatever, with our thoughts, emotions, and actions, each and every second of our existence. This means that the universe is potentially infinite, but ever expanding. If we were to measure exactly how big the universe is at this exact second, it would be false the next second, because it's always moving, is I just can imagine. I can have the figure, the image here in my mind, how it oscillates. It always oscillates, always moving, and it never stops from moving and oscillate. Think of it as multiple molecular forms, of quarks, just condensing itself and create itself anew. I figure out like this, on my brain, my memories and the mind comes this picture every time when I think about the universe. But it's expanding, it's not contracting, it's expanding. If I were to, okay, so even the next nanosecond, it's always moving, transforming itself. It's never the nanosecond before, because it would already have expanded way beyond the calculations. The questions who God is and how everything started is, of course, and should be mind-boggling. I know it. I can feel that. And this is a subject for an endless series of papers itself. No, I know it. And it is not my purpose at this time to speculate too much about this. I know what he means, because many people is not ready to accept the truth, who are those prime creators that you all worship. Of course we know that these aliens, but how are they? Who they look like? How they look like? Are you prepared to know? Many of you already know already. Because in the long run, it will be just that speculation. The final answer will always be that we don't know. God is just quarks, dude, just quarks and quantum physics and all the atom and neutrons. There is evidence here in quantum and subquantum physics and in metaphysics that there is a prime creator that includes everything there is. But there is an even bigger question. If a prime creator came out of a nothingness and suddenly became aware of itself, who made it aware? Or how did it become aware? What came before thought? In other words, is there something even bigger than what we now call the prime creator? It's almost self-evident that this is the case. Of course, why not? The quantum energy which has no form, right? So it's bigger than the prime creator, because this is the source. What's so difficult to understand? My goodness. The mass quantic um, energy is the thing that always have been existing, and it will never end. It never ceases to exist. In all the other form, like dragons, aliens, humans, goblins, plants, fauna, flora, animals, all these essential subproduct, is some kind of is composed of all those quarks, alright? What's so difficult? People need to invent God. For what? Everything is God. Everything there is God. Prime critics have nothing become when how did it become where? What become before thought? There's nothing before thought, dude. Just relax. When you stop to think, thought have been always there, always existed. We cannot stop thinking. Even after death, we cannot stop thinking. The mind goes with us. The body stays behind, but the mind goes. Okay? So, thought is all there is. Thought is where everything is created from. Everything is a thought, and there was nothing before thought. When I was 12 years old, I started to try and stop my thinking, but I couldn't, and I just knew that everything existed. That was perennial, that's always all the time, and that it did not have an exact time frame to exist. It always have been there, and that was taught in there's all the quantum physics. Do you know? So there's no such thing as prime creator, that is the God, the creator. No sense. This being come from most this thought, this thought form, this theoretical quarks, quantum physics. Just like us, hierarchy of creator gods. The creator God is here. We got. See, your God's here. Now come to greet your gods. And to do that, they manipulate what? Science. They know how to manipulate quantum physics and make us forget who we are. Right? It's not so difficult to understand all that, okay? Alien gods. Alien gods is what you all follow, is what you all worship. Okay? And they are just created as we are. All these gods here are created by the cocks. Okay? And we are part of this creator's God, okay? Because we also are part of the cock, okay? It's not so difficult to grasp all those those common sense knowledge. To have the game started, Prime Creator appointed a separate part of itself, so-called Creator Gods, who were close to itself in vibration and had the knowledge and capacity to create realities in the unknown, even galaxies, stars, nebulae, and planets, and seeded them with life. It then told the parts of itself which were the creator gods, go out and create and bring all things back to me. You go out and gift of yourselves freely, so that all that you create in this universe can understand its essence, my identity. Let's see. But how about identity? Does this quark have identity? I don't think so. Some say that the original, because he's multi self-creator, so will he have identity? Can he be defined? Of course not. So this doesn't make any sense. This is all about aliens creating all these creative religions, okay? Some say that the original creator gods were 7 numbers, as if 7 is the number of the prime creator. Hey, I have number 7, roaming in the higher realms. My number is 7 of the unknown, and the 7 creator gods of the noticing that everything went per the plan, then created the hierarchies of lesser creator gods. So they create versions of itself. You see, each one creating what? Creating a family, soul family, different kind of soul family or tribes, who went out and seeded the planets and for space-time floored the city life forms. So they create a version of themselves, which they call creatures. These lesser gods in addition created their own hierarchy and so on. However, because all is one to begin with, because all of us, regardless of the lesser and the ladder of hierarchy, whether we are less or higher, we are all part of one, and so are your gods. Okay, there's really nothing that's greater or lesser than anything else. List your gods. Okay, but in terms of creator gods, they were just assigned more or less complicated tasks, because this was the way which seemed to work the best. I see. Why they make so complicated for themselves in a way? And we are to blame? Certainly not. And the fastest way to see the life into source multiverse. These greater gods did not exist in time as we perceive it here on earth. So 1,000,000 years or even billions of years ago in our linear time, see? Because in that time there's no linear form of time. This means there's no divisions. It's all a single line, okay? It's nothing for these entities. The 7 original creator gods are known under different names here on earth, but I will use the term the founders. Then the lesser gods right underneath them in the hierarchy are the family of light. Now it's getting complicated here. It's really getting complicated. So who are the founder gods, and whom are the family of light, the aliens? Is it? So the family of light gotta be the aliens? And then the founder gods are all those, and those called Elohim, and it's all very, very complicated, man. Very complicated. Or the tribes of light. I will from here on use the term tribes of light only when we are discussing the wing makers material. Otherwise, I will use either family of light or specifically name the alien species in question. He says here this is the Andromedans, but is the Arcturian as well, whom were channeled by Alex Collier. No, it's the Arcturian as well. Arcturians are one of the oldest. Our family of light could be the Pleiadians or the Lyrans, others say the Lyrans. Mention the founders as well. Call them either the Patao or the founders. The first space-time universe expands from the center and out in a spinning spiral fashion, counterclockwise like the Merkaba. In the center of the universe, there is something called a tributary zone. When the founders create a galaxy, they export this zone from the center of the universe and place it in the center of the galaxy, and that's the Earth. They place it in the center of the galaxy. This zone is located on a planet close to the core or central sun of the galaxy, but hidden within the frequency that ordinary galactic and intergalactic beings can't enter unless they are able to vibrate on that frequency, or as the Lyricus teaching order originate from the tribes of light puts it. Within the galaxy is a tributary zone, which is a synthetic planet that's designed to house the knowledge system appropriate for the species of that particular galaxy. Lyricus uses these tributary zones as research and training centers wherein teachers can gather the information, translate it into the indigenous cultural or scientific formats of the species, and then export it to a specific planetary species. My goodness. Too many shenanigans and bureaucracy. Within the galaxy, tributary zone, which is a synthetic planet that's designed to house the knowledge system appropriate for the species of that particular galaxy. Lyricus use these tributary zones. Lyricus could be from Lyra, it's the planet of the felines, as a research and training centers wherein these teachers can gather the information, translate it into the indigenous cultural or scientific formats of the species, and then export it to a specific planetary species. So from what I can gather here, each planet which accepts creation of seedlings is then cultivated in a planet that says Earth, and then from here this knowledge and experience is exported to other part of the galaxy, something like that. The central sun for this galaxy which we are in. The Lyricus teaching order members in the Wingmaker story are ambassadors to the tribes of light. The basic philosophy of the Wingmakers and the Lyricus teaching order is that there are 7 super universes, just like we are taught when you read the Urantian paper. Each super universe has only tributary zone. Now talking about Texas here. Those 7 tributary zones altogether. Tributary comes from tribute. Tribute means like Texas, and less from the word tribe, not sure, but tribus can be some kind of taxes that you have to give. These tributary zones exist as places of inquiry and knowledge dissemination, perhaps as another nerve ending of the thought superdomain where the entire Akashic records are contained. Then, like the Lyricus order says, the zone placed in each galaxy would more specifically contain the Akashic records of a particular galaxy and everything that has happened within it from its creation to its fulfillment. It's like exporting a part of a gigantic library. So from what I can gather, they exchange information between each other, just like some kind of commercial trade, something like that. Even the tributary zones work like a hierarchy. No, I'm not even surprised. Why I'm not surprised? So I don't want to exist anymore. Fed up. I don't like shenanigans. I don't like all this nonsense. Too much bureaucracy, too much nonsense, too much complexity. I know sometimes the game is okay, but as you grow older, it becomes just like, it's just like eating rice all the time, or eating bread all the time, or drinking coffee all the time, or drinking milk all the time. It gets somewhat too boring. From the galactic tributary zone, the tribe of elites then exporting 7 zones to each life-bearing planet. And in the case of planet Earth, there is 1 zone on each continent. There is 1 zone. I see. So in each continent there is a zone of tribute, something like that, of gathering of information. It's unclear how this works on other planets, which have less or more than 7 continents, but that's beyond the scope of this paper. Each planetary tributary zone is like a mini library, each one is specific to a certain field of knowledge. And from what I can gather, all the aliens are heavily invested in all that, especially so the Lyrans and the Pleiadians. From what I gather, each one specific to a certain field of knowledge, such as cosmology, metaphysics, science, religion. Did you mention the religion here? And still they dare to say that religion was created by men, for men. Oh, really? Yeah, right. Think that you can fool me. The 7 tributary zones are real locations, despite what has sometimes been said, even on the Wingmaker site, and they're apparently stationed where they are indicated. And these sites are supposed to be found and explored one by one, decoded and revealed to the human race when we are ready. Just for on the site in New Mexico has been officially located. The original purpose of the Wingmaker's site was for incarnated member of the lyrical teaching order to help locating and decoding the material, which is original form was exported from higher loams and not in language known to any species in the galaxy. Each tributary zone on its planet needs to be decoded so it can be communicated in one or more languages spoken on the planet in question, according to both the Wingmakers and LPCC. My own research has shown that this issue with the tributary zone is very complicated and involves the focus of many different alien species, much more so than is indicated both by the lyricals, Wingmakers, and RPG. But to understand this very important subject, We need to peel the onion, and this is where we start in the paper of the second level of learning. I'll expand on this pretty extensively, as we shall see. There is a connection between the wingmaker's material. Each galactic tributary zone is different in terms of the knowledge system that houses. The leader of the cultural court of power, in this case James, reviews the content contained within the tributary zone and aligns it with his knowledge of the species, belief systems, and historical context, and then translates the content into human terms. This is done as a means to establish the first external footprint of lyricals on the planet. The primary purpose of this initial facet of the knowledge system is to bring encoded sensory data streams to the species that can help individuals shift their consciousness from an individual planetary-based set of objectives to a more cosmologically based set of objectives for the species as a whole, namely the discovery of the grand portal. This is generally done without too much definition given to lyricals. And for this reason that they create the internet, it's a portal of information, and they teach us, and at the same time they can also pass misinformation. So it's very crucial that the person know how to dissect information and reach their own insight or perspective about the subject. The knowledge system is brought to the species gradually and in a manner that the species assimilates it as its own. Complementary to the exterior unfolding of lyricals is the unfolding of the inward process to implant certain aspects of the lyricals knowledge system within the generic mind of the species, thus make it accessible to all humanity. This process is conducted through the combined efforts and technologies of the lyrical team residing within the tributary zone. What's been done on the planet and off the planet, the inner and outer world, is coordinated by the lyricus, leader of the religions. Quarter. Oh my goodness, religion again. This is the individual who is last to incarnate within the human species, and it's the one that will step forward in the final days just prior to or directly after the discovery of the grand portal. This is the individual who will unify the disparate beliefs of the species and anchors them on the science of multi-dimensional reality and the all-encompassing brotherhood of individuated consciousness. Oh, they want to say here that they're going to create one world religion, one world government, and this means what they are trying to which kind of message they are trying to pass here. If not, they are trying to implementing, preparing the mass to implement the new world order or new disorder. I'm not sure. What's been done on the planet and off the planet, the inner and outer world, is coordinated by the lyricus leader of the religion squad. My God, when I see his name religion, I'll shudder. Really, I find something very fishy because I I don't want to accept anything external to myself, my God within. This is the individual who is the last to incarnate within the human species, and is the one that will step forward in the final days. Oh, he talked about this so-called Jesus, is it? Just prior to or directly after the discovery of the Grand Portal. So where gonna be this Grand Portal discovered? Mount Shasta or Russia? Where? This individual who will unify the disparate, gonna be Sananda or Jesus, unify the disparate beliefs of the species. So we're gonna create another religion, huh? Oh, that's great. And anchor them on the science of multi-dimensional reality and the all-encompassing, oh yeah, encompassing brotherhood of individual. And who doesn't want to fall? What will happen to these people? Better destroy it once, I don't care. The grand portal they are talking about is this quote is the grand portal they are talking about in this quote is allegoric to the time when religion and science merge into one. Oh great, oh great, oh great. So this means actually paved the way to the new world order and Illuminati. And the human race realizes as one that we are spiritual beings inhabiting a body. Okay, yeah, we really indeed are spiritual being inside a body. So what for religion? For what? It's not going to evolve nobody. It's going to devolve the regress, make the people regress in time. When this happens, according to lyricals and the wingmakers, it can become multi-dimensional as a species. Religion here does not mean the established organized religions or not, with their different dogmatic teachings, or I hope so, but rather religion and the spiritual ordinance. This is not a religion anymore. This is a religion meant to Ra is once the domain there in ancient Egypt. Religion, the group of Ra. So why say religion for? Don't say spiritual life. What? That's simple. Spirituality, because spirituality and religion are the same thing. Religion takes you where it wants you to go, and the spirituality takes you where your consciousness wants to go. There's a big difference. There's a big gap here between the two. I got first interested in LPGC and to some extent also the Bavarian Illuminati. I see. Because they both seem to work on establishing this goal. Oh, don't tell me. We'll see how this works out in the long run. I think this do the work for the Illuminati. As a side note from now, but still worth mentioning here, that the Pleiadians are using the 12 system rather than the 7. 7 system when dealing with humans. The 12 tribes, not even the 13 tribes. The 13 tribes belong to just yet another group of aliens. And the 7 to yet another. So you see, it's all complicated. They just one group of alien want to drive you to their consensus or their group, and another faction, another group of aliens wants you to go follow their way, and yet another one, and another one, so on and so forth, wants you to follow their way. It's all very complicated, and it is very hard to understand, to follow them, and to believe and to trust with who Asiana Dean is in contact. No sense, dude. Follow your 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 mind, follow your heart, follow your soul, follow your word, and see why you want to follow other things for. That's nonsense. So I know that this man, he works for some organization. Most of them programmers, they're called programmers. They work for New World Order. That's what I got from this man now. He looked fishy to me, and I know I can see from his face that he was a Luciferian. See, he was a Luciferian. But not because of this, but because I look at his eyes, and I could read what he had done. And so that's it. Anyway, I see that the humanity here is going to hell anyway, and I mean, when I say hell, because a majority is not very smart, not very illuminated, not very illuminado, not very luminous, not very enlightened. Okay, so I don't see humanity evolve, not in 1 decade from now. And this thing here about new era, new earth, that's bullshit. It's not gonna happen, nothing. And for 4 July, they say there's gonna be a great event on 4 July. So I tell them, oh, and when this doesn't take place, you're gonna how it called? You're gonna you're gonna place it for another date. Is it another date, another year, another month? Is it just gonna change dates again and again and again, just to fool the mass? And later they say, because humanity is not prepared yet, blah blah blah. But all this is nonsense, all this is excuses. I'm gonna tell you what, as we're gonna go on as it is, okay? What gonna change that we're gonna keep on die, everything gonna keep on die, and nothing will change, really. Everything is gonna carry on about the same crap. You see, nothing gonna change. I don't believe all that. The script's the same. What it changes is always the script writers, the directors, the coordinators, the choreographers, and especially so the actors and actresses, which all we are.